Hockey fans, it's time for BoardCheck, Impact Media's weekly drive through the neutral zone into the world of professional hockey. We talk all the Preds, all the Glads, and all the Canes. Welcome to the show. Always good to be here with you all. Man, one of our teams is exactly where we thought they were. We thought they would be. The other two having some interesting issues, and I think they're similar. And one is actually trying to make the adjustment. We will talk about that shortly. But if you want to be a part of this show or help this show, you can go to our exclusive. It's the only Impact Media show that has its own YouTube, and that is at BoardCheck99, BoardCheck 99. Bet you guys can figure out what that's about. Go on there and subscribe, and you'll know when all of our latest shows are coming out. You're going to know about some of our latest projects. We are going to start putting some more content on there than just the shows. Same with our usual one for all of our other shows at impact underscore media underscore. And of course, if you want to follow this show on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at BoardCheck. If you want to follow me on any of the social medias, the Impact 99, and that is how you'll find all the amazing content. Like I said, we're going to be doing some more stuff here soon to put up on there. So let's start with one of the teams that we're not thrilled with where they are, but I think they're still in an okay spot, and that's the Atlanta Gladiators. Atlanta Gladiators. That's still a cool jersey. You know, right now they're winning about one out of every three games. And this team's better than that. I've spoken off the record with some of the players. Just in passing it at the I've been to a couple games already. I've spoken to other people in the organization, I've spoken to people outside the organization to it just something that one of the players said that I will echo is they've just got to find more goals. They're putting up some quality shots. A lot of times they're out shooting their opponents, and they're just not getting the goals to go in. And it happens. The other team's trying to win the game too. That's great. As the great Mike Maniscalco says all the time. Shout out Mike. It's just they're trying to win the game too. And we're getting some goals. We're just not getting enough for the win. It's not like, we're playing bad defense and we're getting blown out all the time. No. It's losing a lot of close games. The game I was at the last Sunday, we lose that one 2-1 to Greenville. All the way up until there was about 4 seconds to go, I thought we had a chance. The only reason I didn't then is the puck was played a long way away from the goal, and there's no way to get a goal. This team kept fighting. I don't know why I've taken on. For some reason, Easton Armstrong this year is like my new favorite player. So many good ones on this team: Sylvester and Pearson and Neely and Cranny and all those. But I just feel like Easton Armstrong is going to be the next big breakout for this team. At least I sure hope so. I think he hadn't gotten his first goal yet, but he's had some helpers. He's really holding down one of the center spots. I believe he was on the fourth line tonight. I think that was part of a rotation. But he's playing like they're putting him with people that he pairs with pretty well. Where are the lines? Can we get those up real quick? We're gonna get those up. But I like what Coach Nesbitt and Coach Ginn are doing, and Jeff Powell in the development of players like him and Cipollone and some of the other new guys that we have here. Because Jackson Pearson's going to score goals, Craney's going to score goals, Sylvester's going to score. Those guys are going to score goals. What they do. but it's getting the other people involved, like the Easton Armstrongs and such, that is really going to propel this team. And we've already seen a couple guys called up, a couple guys moved around. The one thing that has stayed true is that where is that? There it is. The one thing that has stayed true is that there we go. Jack to the lines. All right. It was Armstrong, Marcheshan, and Franny all on the fourth line for tonight. If that doesn't help the young center, then I'm not sure what will. Other lines tonight, you had Sylvester, Cipollone, Patrick, Marcinkiewicz, and then you get Denemy, Pearson, and Dominic Marcinkiewicz. You get Fletcher, Galloway, and Hernandez, which is the checker line for sure. The defensive pairs were Carabia and Topaz, Yoder and Hossinger, and Andrew Jarvis and Datama. And of course, Drew DeRitter and Ethan Hayter are your goalies. That's the tandem I'm talking about that hasn't been moved, and I think it could. I could see call ups for either one of them because they're both really good. I'm pretty sure they're both in the Preds organization. If not, one is a Preds prospect and the other is an AHL prospect. But um, I just, man, this team is playing so hard and they're playing with grit. I've been to, you know, I've been to some of these games, not just listening on the call because they're playing right now, not just watching along or watching the film and saying, no, I've seen in person the way this team plays. They play with a good bit of energy. They play they play hard, and I'm not saying it on some way like that. This team plays way too well, and there's way too much talent to be where they're at now. But we're also, as I said in one of the fan groups, uh, this team is a handful of weeks. We're in mid-November in a season that ends in April. We'll be okay if we got a slow start, fast start, medium start, whatever. We're gonna be okay. Goal scorers this year, Joey Cipollone's got 4. Sylvester's got 3. Jackson Pearson with a couple. Eric Neely with a couple. Michael Marchison with 2. Blake Murray, Cranny, Dominic Marcinkiewicz has 1 as well. A couple defensemen have them. Those are the forwards. The defensemen, Jeremy Hansel, who I believe is the one who just got called up to the AHL level. Andrew Jarvis, they both had them. The goals are there. They're the goals are there. And I think it's only a matter of time before you see these really start to go. For people who do want to know, it is 1-1 Atlanta and Jacksonville in the start of the third. I guess we're in the second intermission at the moment. Goals from Joey Cipollone with Sylvester and Patrick Marcinkiewicz and on the helpers there. I'll say that because I'm looking at it right now. In the first period, we had 2 penalties. They had 2 penalties. In the second, we had 3 penalties and they had 2. Penalties are crushing us. Penalties are crushing us. That's part of it. Is that even though I would say that the PK is one of our best units, they're great 5-on-5. They're the power play is actually really good, but our penalty kill, both lines are fantastic. They're some of our best. But maybe that's because they get so much playing time because we almost keep somebody in the box. It feels like a majority of the game. That's got to change. I don't know if I don't know if it's just they're playing so hard that they're making mistakes, so they're trying to take extra chances. I don't know. I don't know if we're just not getting calls because there's always that. Um, just don't really know what it could be, honestly. So I feel like if we were a little more disciplined with our penalties and not committing so many of them, then I feel like we'll be in a lot better situation. I feel like that's where it is. I think part of it is penalties because I don't think it's been the call up or anything like that at the moment. Last year it was injuries in the call up. I think so far it is penalties, and we just got to find some more goals. Not offense. The offense is there, but the goals have got to hit. And there's a difference between having offense and having goals, and we just don't have enough goals right now. We got to figure that out. But I think they will. Absolutely think they will. Now to another team that is not really in the position that I thought they would be in at this time of year. And I'm not sure what the strategy is because at least with the Gladiators, I see a shuffling of the lines. I see keeping continuity together. I see a lot of things that Coach Ness was trying to do. I'm trying to figure out what Coach Bruno is trying to do with the Predators. They are in the same boat. They're winning about one out of every three. It's still really early. This season goes to what, April, just like the ECHL. And it's not like they're getting blown out. They're losing 6-4. They're losing 5-3. Um, they, for some reason, love playing at home on a Saturday because they won once in October at home on a Saturday. I think they've won twice in November, which is good because they have a home game coming up next Saturday as well. But they started off really really weird, like losing the first handful of them. They haven't made up the Tampa game yet, and then they get the first win, 4-0 over Boston. If you're gonna beat somebody, at least you're beating Boston. Then they get the win in Chicago. Then they beat Columbus on that Saturday I'm talking about, and then an overtime loss in Tampa. Well, I guess zapped their confidence because they lose 3-2 in overtime to a good Tampa team. They're not the Tampa team that went back to back to back, but they're a good Tampa team. And then against a struggling Edmonton team that, ooh, if you said the Edmonton Oilers were a boat, forget a hole in the boat. Right now, the Oilers literally have no floor to the boat. That they're just in a weird spot. You could say part of it's on McDavid because he's dinged up, or I just Edmonton, some crazy things are going to happen this year, and I know they're going to turn around and win some games, but they are really distancing themselves from everybody else in the wrong direction. But then the Predators, they come back, they win that Saturday game against Colorado, 5-2. That's 5 goals on the board. Going a little bit of a mini losing streak as they play LA at home. Then they go on the road, Washington and Florida, and drop those 3-2, 6-2. I think you were just tired. Went 4-0 over the Utah Hockey Club, and then we're back to an overtime loss and another overtime loss. This one to Edmonton. Edmonton loves playing Nashville. They're getting wins. And then tonight they are playing in Calgary. So they went Colorado, Edmonton, Calgary. They're going to also go Vancouver and Seattle before finally being back at home next Saturday versus Winnipeg. It's a brutal schedule, but I would love to get that out of the way early. And it just, I don't know, right now, I think part of it, the magic that was the last year or so was they got rid of a lot of aging veterans and expiring contracts, left some of the veterans, brought up a lot of the guys who had played together at the AHL level, Evangelista and all them, and they really made a splash, made it into the playoffs. They thought they were going to capitalize on that. They added Stamkos and they added uh forgot his name. I am a big fan. Marchessault. They brought up Zach LaRue. Um, you still have all the all the big names too. I mean, these are all household names, especially if you're a Preds fan. But even if you're not, people know who Philip Forsberg is, who Mark Jankowski is, who Michael McCarron, Tommy Novak, Gustav Nyquist, Ryan O'Reilly, Juicy Parsons, Colton Sissons, Cole Smith, Philip Tomasino. These are all names that I have heard 50 times in the past couple months. And Carrier and Delgado and Roman Yossi and Jeremy Lawson, big fan of his, Luke Shin, Brady Shea. Yes, I said his name right. That's how crazy things are. Is I didn't even purposely miss his name. And I don't. I'm not as familiar with Adam Wilsby. I've seen him play a little bit. And then UC Saros, arguably one of the top three goalies in the league. Scott Wedgwood having an outstanding, not in the win column, but outstanding year as a backup. He's one of the best, most qualified backups in the league. They're there. That's that's what's crazy is that the talent is there. The ability is there. I mean, I don't know if it. I mean, I really don't know if it. To be honest, I just don't know. I don't. I don't know if it's a shake up the line thing. You're still trying to get Stamkos going a little bit. You're still trying to get Marchessault going a little bit. Um, it's like you're trying to get everybody a little warmed up. And there's two thoughts on this. If you're trying to do everybody at once, then maybe just concentrate on a couple lines and just try to get them going. Or if you're just trying to get a couple lines going, maybe try to do all whichever one you're doing, do the other. That's all I can figure because the defense is still playing good in front of the goaltenders. They're not giving up a lot of crazy on-man rushes and things like that. They're just they're just 5-9-3. They're just 5-9-3, and all three of those overtimes are losses. And like I said later, just a few minutes ago, actually, they are in Calgary to face the Flames. And I don't know, they got to do something. I thought it's not time to panic, but they've got to do they've got to get creative. They've got to do some stuff. Uh, I told you the schedule coming up. They got winnable games. Winnable games are on the board. They absolutely have winnable games. They just have got to put it together. Just got to put it together. Speaking of somebody who has put it together and who has figured out what they need to do, how about those Carolina Hurricanes? How about those Carolina Hurricanes, right? Gave a shout out to Mike Maniscalco earlier, friend of the show. I heard you guys. I would love to have Mike on this show. He was on the audio version of this show a couple years ago. Fantastic guy. Um, him and Shane Willis do a great job with Canes Cast, arguably one of the best team podcasts. Uh, the Players Official podcast is really good too with Kara Hammer and Mac Hurst. Not just because I cover those teams, but that's a really solid show as well. But something that the Hurricanes have figured out is the combos to use and to use Rod Brendamore's style, and that's what's really gotten these them off to such a great start. They start with a win versus Tampa, a win in Nashville, lose to Tampa. They still hadn't made up that home game there. That's a whole different situation. They beat the Devils. They beat The Penguins lose a close one to St. Louis. Then they beat Edmonton, something Nashville can't figure out. They beat Calgary. They beat Seattle. They beat Vancouver. They go on that big West Coast trip and they smash everybody. And then they come back home against Boston. And everybody's like, "Oh, here they go. They're gonna no. How about 8-2? 8-2. First off, what's happening to Boston? But 8-2. Then they how many wins is this in a row? So starting on the 22nd, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Finished out October 6, 7, 8, 8 in a row before losing to Colorado, and then following that up by beating Vegas. They lost to Utah. Good for Utah. Utah, they're better than Phoenix ever was. But this team, man, they're going to have the home game. We're going to host the Senators tomorrow night, 7 p.m. at the big arena. Um, but they figured it out. They have the lines where they want them. They have figured out the goal setting situation. They have all the excuse in the world as to this should not be working. They do. And you know why it shouldn't be working? Because Frederick Anderson is currently out with an injury, and he's week to week. When you're day to day, that means you could play. You could play tomorrow, could play the next day. It's pretty close to you coming back. Week to week means they're not sure. You're out. You're not indefinitely, but you're. It's just got to take it week by week, basically. Just he might play this week, he might not. But you got Kachekov, who's your backup, who steps in as your starter and proceeds to rattle off 8 wins in a row. How crazy is that? Then Spencer Martin comes in, and he's almost as lights out as Kachekov. Your third goalie is having to be your second goalie, and he's playing like your second goalie normally does. And your second goalie is playing like your top goalie normally does. All the excuse in the world why this shouldn't be working, and yet it is. And yet they've got some new guys. There are some people that you haven't really heard of yet much. Sean Walker, Riley Stillman, Ty Smith. A lot of people aren't familiar with them, but everybody knows my spirit animal, Brent Burns, Jalen Chatfield, Ghost Behair, Dmitry Orlov, and Slavin. That's some of the best handle. I mean, just think about this. You got Burns, Chatfield, Ghost Bear, Orlov, and Slavin. It doesn't even matter who the number 6 is. It could be any of those other guys, but that's an incredible top 5. Incredible, really top 6. Still got Spats and Stahl, Nate Goss, who is just exploded this year. Coach Cammy, Martinuk, Seth Jarvis, Drury, Carrier, Sebastian Aho. But they've had an influx of new guys and an influx of younger talent. Jackson Blake, who, gosh, you fans are eating up, and as you should. But it seems like every other fan question has to do with Jackson Blake. So it's fun to see you guys get so excited there. Tyson Joseph got some solid minutes. Eric Robertson, Jack Rostovic. These guys are all getting top minutes or big minutes. But man, this Canes team, they are just on a roll, and it is great to see. Like I said, maybe we'll get some guests coming up soon. We got some holidays. People have some time to play with. Maybe we'll get some guests on some of these here. Let's go to the standings. The standings for our West Coast team, the Nashville Predators. They are finally out of the bottom. They have come up over San Jose and Anaheim. They are currently in 8th place in the wild card race. They are 6 points, which is not much at all, 6 points away from Calgary, who holds the number 2 spot in the wild card. So they're in there. They're in there. Then we go to the Eastern Conference, where the Carolina Hurricanes are currently in 2nd place in the Metro Division. They are behind Jersey. I'll be honest, the New York Rangers, the New Jersey Devils, and the Carolina Hurricanes are arguably three of the four top teams from the East, with the other one being the Florida Panthers. We got to see what Toronto's going to do. We know the stigma with Toronto. They score a lot of goals at times. They currently have Austin Matthews out, and they're still winning games, which is crazy. But got to see what happens later in the year with them. But definitely like where all of our people are at as far as their effort and their things like that. Um, that's pretty much it. I think that's pretty much it this week. I just wanted to touch on a lot of that stuff there. We'll have more updates on tonight's games where, like I said, Nashville just had a puck drop and the Gladiators are playing Jacksonville in Jacksonville, and that game is about midway through the third. And then, of course, the Canes will play tomorrow night. But we've reached the end of our show. Appreciate you guys tuning in another great edition of Board Check. I am Jeremy the Impact York. Deuces Gooses. Go Canes. Go Preds. Go Glads. Go Walk Hockey.